Hello everyone, hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I'm coming through nice and clear. How are we all doing this evening? Well, if you're in UK or this time zone, it's this evening. Otherwise, how else are you? It is very hot over here in the UK, so pardon me, I'm very uncomfortable. But nonetheless, we are here tonight live, doing a live tutorial session based on what we saw last week when we played Smite. So one of the things that came out of there was the idea of doing minion AI. So if you don't know what tonight's all about, what we're doing is we're going to do a live tutorial session on creating this minion AI, so that when they spawn at each end, they'll have a lane they'll go down. So here you can see I've got 3 lanes set up. They'll pick one and go down that lane, attacking a target along the way. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Now, the reason why we do this live and the benefits of doing this live is I'm going in pretty much blind. I haven't done MOBA AI code before, so this is quite new for me as well. But same principles for general AI will apply to this. So if you're interested in AI and how to accomplish this, you can hopefully learn something tonight. You'll see it live, so it's unpracticed, so you'll see me make mistakes, you'll see me try and figure things out, and you get to see me debug the inevitable bugs that come up on the way. So if you do have any questions, I do have chat open on the other screen, so feel free to ask away in chat. Otherwise, we'll make a start, and hopefully you can get finished. We'll have something to show by the end of the session. So as you see, I've set up a very basic MOBA map here with a 3-lane setup and a central point where we'll put in 1 tower, or a tower each lane or whatever, for the AI to attack. So before we do any of the tower stuff, we just need to get some AI just running around in here. So let's get the AI running around. We need to, I'm making a new folder to keep this all organized, and open this up. And in here, we're going to create various things. I will go through this at quite a speed, and I'll try and explain everything as I go along. But this is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it on the archive as a member, or YouTube as a Patreon member. You can watch it live straight away, otherwise archived straight away, or you can watch it archived in a couple of weeks' time for everyone else. So as I said, I will go through it quickly, but I'll try and explain as best I can along the way. So we need to create a few items. We need to make a character class, and we'll call this the minion. And then we're going to create a controller class. So I'll go back to my new blueprint class. I'm going to search for an AI controller, and we'll call this on minion AI. Point, I'm hoping to do about an hour and a half, maybe. And answering Kilo Lime's previous question about whether this would work with client-server replication. Yeah, because when you're doing replication, you're just replicating character positions and character movements, things like that. That's all you need to worry about. So they'll be replicated from the server to the client, or clients rather. So yeah, it should work, no problem. But I'm not doing that tonight. I haven't got anything set up to do multiplayer stuff, but it should work just fine if you put it into a client-server setup. So we've got a minion and a minion AI. So we've got the puppet and the puppeteer. We're then going to create a behavior tree. BT. And a blackboard. Okay, so now we're going to link all these together. So the minion AI controller. Actually, let's do it in the right order. So the character, the puppeteer, or the puppet, sorry, we're going to search for, in the details panel here, the controller it's going to use, or don't have to search, it's down here. You'll see it says AI controller class. You can just choose the one we just made, which is minion AI. So the puppet now has a puppeteer. We go to the puppeteer, which is the minion AI. And on here, on begin play, we're going to tell it to run a behavior tree. Now, minions are quite simple. So we only have to run the behavior tree right at the start, and that's it. They're not going to wait or anything like that. They're just going to spawn and just start running down their lane. So we're going to tell it which behavior tree to run, and we're going to tell it to run the minion behavior tree. It's only going to have one, really. So we'll leave it as that. Oh, we may change our mind halfway through. We don't know. We'll see how we get on. Okay, so that's that behavior tree. And then a behavior tree, we will make sure it's using the correct blackboard. So make sure the blackboard asset is set to the correct blackboard, which it is. Excellent. Okay, so there's our basic setup. Next, we need to put in a NavMesh into our world. So I'm going to search for a NavMesh bounds volume and drag it into my world. And I want this to stretch across the whole entire map. So I'm going to use these brush settings down here where you see X, Y, Z, and just change these values to stretch over the bounds of the map. And if you want to check to see if it's working okay, hit P, and you should see a green is the nav mesh. Doesn't matter if it's outside the map, because it's never going to get outside the map. It's just going to run around in here, and you can see it's all working just fine. Okay. Okay, so we've got this going on. John Aldo, this is live, and it will be saved for an archive. So if you don't have time to watch it now, you can watch it later. It'll be out for everyone on YouTube in 2 weeks' time, or Patrons will get it straight away. Okay, so we've got now got the nav mesh. We're going to go into our minion actor and give it some appearance, because at the moment it's just an empty capsule. So let's give it the third person anim and the mannequin. Let's change that so it's not ridiculous. Okay, you want the feet to line up with the base of the capsule. That should do, I think. And close that. So if I place it in the world, it should look normal. Yeah, not too bad. It could be risen a tiny bit, but we'll leave it as is. I think that's fine. Okay, so we've got the minion looking like something. Next, let's make it so you can run around. Okay. What we do, we do the spawning bit last. We'll just get the minions doing what they should be doing. So this one is going to have a path, and we're going to make it just run down that path. Okay. 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 So once we've got that, we need to set up the lanes, don't we? So the lanes we got here visually is 3 lanes. But we're going to do a new blueprint class. Choose actor, and to be a lane. And the lane will have a spline component, like so. Hit compile. We'll close that, and we'll place these lanes into the world. So we've got lane 1 here. We'll place that in, and rotate that around. And grab the end of the spline. Turn the P off for now. And we'll stretch that out. And you're going to kind of want to put the points at where the towers will be. So our first tower is going to be here. Okay. Then we're going to stretch out again. So hold down Alt. We can create another spline point for the second tower position, and third spline point for that position there. We also, I messed up. We should have put this at the start properly. Hang on. Yeah, we'll drag out one from there. So we've got point 1, point 2. 0.3, and all the way up over here, and we'll put that over there. Okay, so that's lane 1, and I'm going to name it that as such on here. Go lane, or go lane A. Okay. Okay. Next, we're going to do lane B. So we're going to drag another lane out. And likewise, we're going to drag out the points so, and get where the towers will be. Just being rough. Okay, so that's going to be lane B. To name it as such, lane B. And then we're going to put in the third one. Just drag that out over here. Cool. So we've got now 3 lanes. So we've got some questions coming up. Could you use this to get a character to interact with the environment? E.g., get one of the video game characters who's a farmer to tend to some plants, or get a blacksmith character to hit an anvil. Rather than doing spline paths like this, you could do, but what I would do in that case is make them just search for the nearest item that they want to tend to. So if it's plants, for example, you just tell them to look for the nearest plant and then walk over to that plant without a spline. We're using splines because we want them to be fixed onto a path. Because if in MOBA, you'll notice that if your AI get distracted and taunted away, they'll return back to the path to carry on their attack. Okay, so we need some kind of pathing to indicate which way it should be going. Okay, so we've got lane A, lane B, and lane C. Already I thought of one issue, but we'll come to that in a second. We'll come to that when we get to it. I've already thought of an issue. An issue being is that they'll start at point A, point 1, sorry, and then point 2, point 3, point 4. But if you've got AI spawning on this side of things, they'll be spawning at the last point and then cracking on. So we need to figure out a solution to that when we get to it. Okay, so we've got various lanes. Now, the AI itself, we need to know which lane it wants to go in. So open up our minion, add a new variable, and it's going to be called lane. The variable type here is going to be called lane type, and it's going to be an object reference. And by default, well, not default, we can't change the default, but it will, when it spawns, sorry, we'll make it so it spawns with a lane chosen. So I'm going to click instance editable and expose and spawn. Hit compile. So I can click on this AI character over here, and you should see now I can choose which lane I want him to use, A, B, or C. So if I tell him to use A, he's now, well, he will follow lane A, which is this one. Okay. Okie dokie. So next we're going to do is, right, the next thing we're going to do is tell it to create some tasks on our behavior tree. This is very similar, by the way, to the Pathfinding AI that I've done a tutorial series on. It's very similar to that. So on the behavior tree here, we're going to create a selector, followed by a sequence. And the sequence, we're going to have to find the lane it wants to go on. And then it'll just crack on. Okay. So what would be the best way of doing this? Let's have a think. We could use the object blackboard key, I guess. We'll try that. As I said, this is live, so we're figuring stuff out as we go and see if we can find good solutions to stuff. So I'm going to go new key and choose object, and this would be lane. And on the right hand side, you can choose which key type it is. So if you expand key type, you can choose the base class, change that to be the lane type. Okay, save. So now we can reference this and link it to the blackboard. So let's do that. So on minion AI, we're going to get on the begin play, get the pawn, not from there, pawn, get controlled pawn, and return value here, we're going to cast to minion, And for simplicity's sake, we're just going to store that as a reference. So promote to variable, minion AI, no, actor. And from there, we can now get the lane. So get lane. And we can now assign it to the blackboard. So right click, get blackboard. Target itself. And we're going to set value as object. Plug that in. The key name, we're going to make literal. And type in the name lane, because that's the name of the blackboard key. And the object is this. Okay, so at the start, what it's doing is, after it runs the behavior tree, we're going to get the controlled pawn and cast it to minion, so we know we've got a reference to now the actual actor this controller is specifically controlling. And then we're going to get the blackboard and assign the lane blackboard key this lane value, which it belongs to the actor. Okay, so that will do that. Oh, pardon me. Okay, so now we've got the lane. We now want to get started on that lane and start running towards it. So we need to make a task to get us to the point we want to go towards. So on the blackboard here, we're going to set up a couple more variables. So we're going to new key, int, and we'll say spline position. Okay, and this will be a normalized value between 0 and 1. 0 being at the start of the spline, 1 being at the end of the spline. Okay, hit save and go back to behavior tree. Now we create a new task to start running along that that spline, or at least get the position of that spline. So let's get a new task, and we're going to rename it straight away. Task. Run spline. No, sorry, we'll go get spline target. Okay. And the purpose of this task is going to get the spline's location, or at least the next point in the spline's location. So let's get the execute AI first of all launching this. And from here, we also need to get the actual lane we want to use. So on variables, click on new variable, call it bb_lane. I put in bb all the time, by the way, in my videos, you may notice, because it stands for blackboard. That way I know I'm referencing a blackboard variable rather than a local one. So the variable type is a blackboard key selector. And we make it editable. Hit compile. So we're going to get that lane out. And we're going to get value as object. And this, as you can see, if you hover over it, outputs an object reference. So we need to cast that to a lane object. Because it's generic. See, it says object reference, that's a generic reference. So we need to cast it to a lane to get a specific reference. Actually, no, we don't. No, we do. My bad. Okay, so we've got lane set up. Right, so once it's done that, once we've got the lane, we now need to get the spline from the lane. So as lane, spline. Get spline. And from the spline, we want to get the target location we want to head towards. So another variable I need is bb_spline position, and that's again going to come from the blackboard instance editable. Okay, spline, we're going to get location at distance along spline. No, not spline. Yeah. Get. Ooh, what do I do? Get distance. Get location at distance along spline. Yeah. So we can get distance along. Get location at distance along spline. The distance though is going to be our spline position multiplied by the length of the spline. So we'll get spline position, and get value as float. I did make it a float, didn't I? No, made it an int. Float. Get blackboard value as float, and from that we want to multiply it by the length of the spline. So to type in length, get spline length, and we're going to multiply these two together. Now the reason why I did it as a normalized value is because we don't know the exact length of the lane, so each lane will have a slightly different length. So this makes it a lot easier to account for that. So we do float times float, and get spline length multiplied by the spline position. So at spline position 0, you're going to output at spline length 0, distance of 0. But if the distance of the spline is, say, 350 meters, and the spline position is 1, we're going to get the distance of 350 meters. Okay. Coordinate space, we're going to change that to world. And we've now got a target location to run towards. So we now want to output that back out as a variable to store on our blackboard. So on variables, go new variable, bb underscore target vector. Again, editable. Drag that out, choose get, and we're going to set value as vector. And that's going to come all the way from there. Okay, so our task at the moment is getting the lane. That's what this is doing. And getting the spline from the lane. And then we're working out the location along that spline based on our spline position of the AI, where it all default starts at 0. Okay. And then we're going to get location at distance along spline and make it run towards that spline position. Okay. Okay. So with that done, we now need to finish execute and tick success. Compile. Close that, go back to our tree and add it to our sequence. Now we can set up various things here. So the lane is going to be the blackboard key lane. Spline position is going to be spline position. But target vector, we need to make a key for target vector. So target location. And I can now select that from there. We're then going to do a move to. And the move to is going to choose the blackboard key target location and hit save. So in theory, because I've chosen lane A for this guy, the first thing he'll do is he'll run towards position 0, which is there. In theory. Let's see if this actually works. Yep, there you go, he ran to that point. Okay, so he's run to that point. We now need to make it so he can carry on along the spline, getting to the next locations. Okay. Okay. Right, so on the behavior tree, once move 2 is completed, we're now going to increase the spline position. Okay, so we need to make a new task, new to BT task blueprint base, and create the execute event. Okay, a new variable we need for this is the BB spline position, because that's what we're changing. And that's going to be a blackboard key selector. And tick instance editable. Editable allows it, by the way, to show up here. Okay, if you don't tick editable, it won't show up here and allow you to change it. So you need to make sure it's there. Hello, Crinus. Hello, James. Hello, Hyan, John, everyone else that's watching. Hello. Right, so back on our task to increase the spline position. So I'm going to take my spline position and get, and then from here, get value as float, because that's what it is. And then I'm going to take that float and increase it. So times by, oh no, times by, add. And this is basically how you want to increment it. So you could do big incrementations, like small ones, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do 0.1, okay, and increase it so it has 10 increments, okay. These are basically like checkpoints. So how many checkpoints are you going to have? So if you have 10 checkpoints along the way, you do 0.1. If you have 20, 0.05, so forth. So once you've got that, we're going to get the spline position back out again, and then do set value as float. Plug that all in, connect up your value to this, and then finish execute. Tick success. And that's it. That's all we have to do for that. Hit compile, close that. So once the move 2's done its thing, after that, we're going to do the task. Oh, I didn't rename it. Task increment position. So once we've got the move 2 out of the way, we then do the task increment position. Hit save. And make sure spline position is set to the correct key, which is spline position there. Hit save, and let's close that. So now it should run there, and then run the length of the spline super simply. Ta-da! Okay, magic. And you won't go any further because that's the end of the spline. Okay, but at that point, that's when you want to do the attacking part. Okay. Okay, so that's it going from that direction, but what if we want it to go from the other direction? So this is where we get a bit trickier. So I'm just going to move this guy. Actually, let's make a duplicate version of him. Over here. And let's give this guy lane. Give him lane A as well, okay? But this one, we want to run in the opposite direction, because if I push play, he'll run to the other end of the map first and then run the length, which is not what we want. So what we actually want him to do is start at the end and decrement it. Okay, so let's do that. So let's create an enum. So I'm going to go blueprints, enumeration, and we'll do this one minion team enum. Okay, and open it up. Very, very simple enumerator. Enumerator is basically a list of possible variables it could be. So click new, and the first one's going to be team red, and the next one is going to be team blue. Simple as that. And we're going to go to our minion and give it a team variable. Team, and it's going to use that enumerator that we set up. So minion team enum. Tick instance editable, click compile, and close that. So this one is going to be team blue. So team blue is going to start this end, team red is going to start that end, and this one we want to start in reverse. Okay, so what we need to do is tell our blackboard on our behavior tree which way it's going to possibly be going. So we're going to go new key, ball, and we're going to do is reverse. Hit save. We then want to go to our minion AI controller and do something similar to what we've done here. So where we cast a minion, we've got the minion actors lane. We want to now get the minion actors team. So rather than dragging from there, I'll just drag out my variable that I stored earlier. And from there, get team. And we'll do equals to. And not that equals to, let's do it equals enum. And then we can do get blackboard, so it's this stuff again, get blackboard. Set value as ball. And we'll plug that in like that. So if it's team red, or team blue, sorry. If it's team blue, it's going to go in reverse. Okay, and the key we want to do that is we're going to make literal and do is reverse. Okay, So now we're communicating from the controller over to the behavior tree and to the blackboard. So we now need to implement that somewhere in our stuff here. So if that is the case, we also then want to do. We're going to change the spline position, don't we? As well. Okay. So back on that AI controller, we need to change the spline position. Crisis runs if you want more than 2 teams. In a MOBA. If you, I don't know how that would work if you have just like 2 sides going on. If you have like 4 ways, like a quad arena, and you want 4 teams, you just have, I don't know, interesting problem to solve, because then you have to make splines that go off that direction as well and that direction, and interesting problem. Another one to solve another day, but it's not the most common, not the most common thing to come across. As you typically only find 2-team MOBAs typically. But yes, it does come with some extra issues, because not necessarily the enum, but the sheer possible choices it has from the point of view of which spline it can go down. What you do need to make sure, so imagine that you've got a spline that's got positive and negative end, okay? So it's positive ends there, negative ends here, okay? You need to make sure then all negative ends of one set of splines go here, and negative splines for another set go over here. But then you could have multiple choice. I don't know. It runs into a lot of issues. That's something else to figure out another day. The thing I would probably have to work on is probably, I mean, one way you could do is brute force it. You could brute force it with going if chosen lane D be reverse, if it lane E that way, lane F, that's one way to do it, brute force it that way. Anyway, back onto the task at hand. So yes, so we're communicating to the AI here. We have to tell it to set the spline position based on this as well. So we're going to branch out here. And if it is true, and it is in reverse, we need to change the spline position. So we're going to get the blackboard here, set blackboard value as float, make literal, and call it spline position. And the float value is going to be 1, but it starts at the other end. Okay, yeah, let's try it out and see, and let us know how you crack on. Okay, so we've got that all set up. So now it's communicating to the behavior tree and changing all that as it is. The thing we need to change though is when it gets this spline's position, increment position, because it may not want to add it, it may want to take it away. In that case, we're going to go to variables, go bb underscore is reverse, and change that to blackboard key selector. Again, choosing editable. And before we do the increment, we want to get the is reverse, get value as bool, and branch it. Okay, so if it's false, it will go down this way. If it is true, then we want to copy all of this, except for the addition. And we're going to use negative instead. So you want to minus 0.1. And again, finish and execute. Okay, let's see how this works. So this guy is running that way, and we should see the other guy. I don't see him running anywhere. That's not a good sign. So where's he gone to? He's just done nothing. He ran to the end. Okay, so that's not a good sign. So lane A, B, let's have a look. So run to the end. Okay, that was correct. So he ran to the end, which is correct because his spline position was 1. Therefore, he ran straight to the end. But he should have decremented it. It should have gone this way. So BB. Oh wait, I didn't actually change it on the behavior tree. So it is reversed. I chose the wrong key. It is reversed there. Now, push play. This guy runs this way. And there's the other guy running the other way. Ta-da. Now they're going to butt heads and eventually figure out how to get past each other. So one thing that might be worth doing as well to give it more natural movement is make it so it's not so fixed on the line. So we're going to randomize the position around the point it's going to run towards. So on the task get spline target, once we've got this return value, we're going to randomize it a little bit. So let's separate this out here a bit. And then return value, we're going to do random point in navigable radius. And the radius is going to be, I don't know, let's do 200. And put that random location into there. So now he won't stick to the line. They'll have some sort of variation to it, which when they're on 1-to-1, it's not a big issue, not a big noticeable difference. But if I was to make a few more of this same guy, you'll notice it won't look as weird. They won't run in straight line with each other. They'll, be a mob of people rather than it looks more like a running match. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. By the way, for my gold patrons, I'll put the code up for this all up on the usual place with the other project files. Okay. And they'll freak out at the end because they're choosing random spaces all the damn time. Okay. So that all instantly makes it look a bit more interesting, a bit more lifelike. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is make it so that when it encounters a target, be it another minion or a tower, we'll make them attack. So first of all, we need to set up an actual attack function. Now this will be a bit tricky because I don't have any animations or anything like that, so we might have to do something fiddly with this. So on my minion, we're going to create an attack function. Custom event attack. And what we'll do, how can we make it look like they're attacking? I'm trying to think what I've got that I can actually quickly use without looking crap. I know what we'll do. We'll do a simple sphere above their head. And we'll scale that down a bit. So when they attack, this thing will appear. Okay, just because I haven't got any animations or anything like that. But this is when you'd have them swing a sword, shoot a gun, whatever you want. But that's my attack sphere. Attack. Oh, attack sphere. We'll do attack sphere. Okay, so when that appears, that's when it's attacking. So we'll make it hidden. So make it visible, invisible. So when the attack happens, drag the attack sphere out, make it visible. Again, this will be an animation for you. Whatever. And paste it in is set visibility. And click compile. The Discord is technically open, but it is by a link only. Just because the bot is a bit broken inside of it. It will be changing over the next month to be a bit more tighter. But yes, the Patreon Discord will be locked down a bit more. Just a heads up. but it is for patrons only. Okay, so we've got set visibility, or YouTube members, sorry. So we've got set visibility for the attack sphere, so just so you can see it. In your case, it may be a play animation, I don't know, whatever. And then we'll do, I don't know, how would the best way of doing that? Attack. Right, we need a variable, and that'd be a target, and that'd be a minion. It's gonna, oh no, we do just actor. And we'll do we'll make them shoot projectiles. We can make a very simple projectile. We'll get rid of that. And get rid of the attack sphere. That might look a bit better. Let's make a simple projectile. And so here we want a sphere. I'm going to change the scale of it to 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Make it the root. Because it's going to be a physics-based thing, you want to make it locked down into... Because it's a physics-based thing, you need it to be a root to be the thing that actually moves. Then you go projectile movements. Yes, the Discord link is for patrons only. As I said, over the next month, only patrons will be allowed into it. It's because the bot's broken. Okay, so projectile movement, let's change it so we use no gravity, so it just flies straight forward, and a speed of 2000, 2000, and click compile. Okay, so this thing will just fly forwards. And when it hits something, let's hit. There you go. When it hits something, we'll make sure it only hits targets and not other team members. So when we hit, okay, so it's projectile. Do other. And we're going to first of all cast to a minion, see if it's another minion that we're fighting against. And if it is a minion, we're going to check their team. So team, and we'll do get team. Now this projectile will also need a team variable, so go new variable, team affiliation, and that'd be the team enum, and this will be editable. So if it hits something of a different team affiliation, so we're going to get team affiliation out and compare these together. So not equal to the team affiliation. We'll make them do damage. So deal, not deal damage, it's called damage. Fire damage. The damage actor is this thing here. I'll just do it for minion. And base damage of, I don't know, 0.2. I don't know. Okay, so we got that one. And then we have to destroy this actor. And that'll clear the projectile from the game. So if it doesn't hit a minion, so i.e. like a tower or player or whatever, we're going to that way it's always going to apply damage. Okay, so we're going to copy the applied damage here, paste that down here, apply damage to cast failed, and other to that damage actor. Hit compile. Oh, and destroy actor as well. Compile. So that's the projectile. Back to our minion. On the attack, we want to do spawn actor from class and choose our projectile. And we should, oh, no, sorry, I didn't expose it on spawn. Team affiliation, expose on spawn. So let's change that back to none, and then to projectile. There we go, team affiliation. So I'm going to drag team into that, and the spawn transform is going to come just in front of this character here. So let's do a sphere collision, or a sphere component, sorry. God damn, not a sphere component, a scene component. Losing all my minds. And we'll just spawn it there. Okay. And drag the scene out, get transform. Apart. Okay, and what we'll do is actually do a timer for this. Right, we'll call this one start attack. Set timer by event. Custom event, fire projectile, and then plug that in. So now I have a timer, so it doesn't just fire a stream of bullets. We'll do a timer of every one second. And it's looping. And return value from the timer we want to store as a variable, and it would be attack cooldown. And we want another function here saying stop attack. So custom event stop attack, where we get that timer and we clear it. Clear and invalidate. So that will now, what this is doing, start attack, we're starting a timer every 1 second on loop. It will fire a projectile, where we're assigning a team to that projectile. And if we call it stop attack, it's going to call that looping timer and just clear it and stop it. Okay. So now we've got the functions, we now need to be able to call them. So we need to check whether or not we are in range of a target, be it a minion or a minion or a, I don't know, tower. That's it. Words. I cannot think of words. Sorry, message. Okay, so let's think about how this works. I need to make a range detector. So let's go to my behavior tree. So I only want to do this if I've got nowhere to shoot or attack. So we're going to have a gate on this. And the gate we're going to do is, gates are like decorators, sorry. So make a decorator. And the decorator is going to be if a target is in range. So we'll do a blackboard actually. We'll do a blackboard. So blackboard, we'll do a new key, bool target in range. Hit save, go to behavior tree, on the sequence, add a decorator, blackboard. Click on the blackboard decorator. It's like a gate, okay? So it will stop flow if it needs to. So we're going to change it to use the targets in range, and we've set only let it in if it's not set. So basically, only go past this gate if the target in range is not set to anything, but it's false. So it will carry on going. But we want it so when it changes, it stops this movement and shoots. Okay, so notify observer on results change, and when it does change, we want the observer to abort. We'll do self. Okay, so abort this if it's in it. Actually, we'll do both. Okay. Okay, so that's the gate there. The next thing we're going to do is do the attack branch. Okay, so I'm going to do another sequence here. And we can rename these as well to make it easier yourself. Movement branch. And we'll call this one the attack branch. If I spell it correctly. There we go. Okay, so this will only play if this sequence fails. Okay, this will cause it to abort and fail. Therefore, go up here and then go down this branch instead. So the attack branch, what we're going to do is make a new task, do PT task blueprint base, execute AI. We want to get the AI that's in range. Okay, so the AI that's in range is going to come from we'll do that actually. What would be the best way of doing that? We could do it as a on the selector here. Oh, hang on, my cat wants to go out. Hang on, be right. Damn cat. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so I'm thinking what we could do on here is we could do a service, and the service could be the thing that is checking for a target. The service is like a tick, basically, which is what you want to do when you're doing this. So let's create a service. And to create the starting function, go up to the top where it says functions and click on override, and you'll see receive tick. Okay. We'll do receive tick AI. There we go. So this will happen all the time, which is what you want to happen anyway, because you wanted to check all the time whether something's in range of it. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the controlled pawn. And we want to... No, that's not going to work, is it? What would be a best way of doing this? Let's have a think. I'm thinking I have to set up different channels maybe to determine what's a target and what's not a target. A possible target anyway. Yeah, let's do that. Probably the easiest way of doing it. So we're going to go to Edit Project Settings and search for collision channels. Did I not spell it? Collision target channel. Object channel, sorry, that's what it is. New object channel. Targets. And the default response for targets is overlap. Accept. Okay. So that means on my minion here, I want to change the capsule component. Oh. If I scroll down to collision presets, I don't want it to be a pawn, okay? I want it to be something different. So I'm going to change it to use the preset of custom. And you'll see targets, it says overlap. That's what you want to make sure is set to be the case. Okay? So make sure that is there. If you go then change object type here to targets, this will make this a actual possible target. And when we make the tower, that will also use the target's collision channel. So with that done, you go into the service. Controlled pawn here, we want to check the collision for this collision object channel, sorry. No. How do we get that? Get collision object type, that's what I want. Primitive component. Okay, I'll go get the root then. Root. Oh, pain in the bum. Okay. Oh, that's gonna be an absolute pain. No, that's not. No, that's not. That's fine. Or is it? Hmm. You know what? Actually, a bit easier. Let's change this. Get rid of those two that I just made. Right, let's get rid of that. And let's go to my actor here. Go to my viewport, and I'm going to put a range on him instead. So sphere collision. And this would be attack range. And we want to change the size of this. So scroll up, you find radius. We want to make this a lot larger. So we'll go, let's say 400. Okay. Right. So we then, on the attack range, want to right click, add event on component begin overlap. And when we overlap something that is a possible target, we want the other actor to be checked against to find if it is a possible problem. So other actor, I wonder if we can just get a collision type for this. Object. No. Other actor, we're going to have to check whether or not it is. Hang on. Other, just do a component. So other component we want the collision channel for this. So I'm going to get the, where is it? Object type. And we're going to check if that equals enum to targets. And if it is, we want to set a target. Okay, so target set true. That's going to come from other actor. Okay, so now we've got the target set from the overlap. Now the overlap has done that job. The next job we need to do is then attack that and change the behavior tree to work. So we're going to tell it to actually we can tell it to start attack from here. Okay, right. Okay, let's try this out. Let's see if this works. So on begin play, I'm going to get the controller and get AI controller. Self is the controlled actor, and we're going to cast that to the minion AI, and then promote that as variable. My controller. Then after we set target, I'm going to get my controller out, get blackboard, and set blackboard value as bool. Key name, make literal. And what do we call it? Target in range. And the bool value for that is going to be true. So, okay, we'll do that. And then we'll tell it to do something on this. So that should trigger this to stop and abort this, and then go down this branch instead. Okay. So if it does that, we want to stop movement first of all. Is that already one in here? No. Okay, we'll do a task then. Oh, don't want to do that. New task. Let's rename it. Task underscore attack target. And I've already realised something. Yeah, okay, we'll carry on as this. Okay. So receive execute AI, and when it does do that, we're going to tell it to stop movement. So it should stop, actually. It should interrupt this and should stop automatically. We'll see. It should do automatically. So we're going to tell it on the controlled pawn here, we're going to cast to minion, and we're going to say start fire projectile, and then execute, finish, success. And then on the tree, I'm going to tell it to fire that the attack thing, the task attack target, and then from here, I'm actually going to tell it to wait. Okay, it's a bit of cooldown, so 1 second. So rather than having on my minion the start attack, stop attack, and things like that, I can just do this. And that should work. Because it's going to do this task to fire the projectile, and then on the tree, setting it to wait 1 second before it gets out the tree and then goes back in. Let's just try it. Let's just try it. Oh. What was that? Right, immediately I think they fired regardless. Okay. These are the same team, so why are they telling each other to fire? Let's have a look. If the collision type is equal to targets, which it is. Oh, we need to make sure it's not the different affiliation as well. And we have to get the oh crap. Oh my god, okay. Right, okay. So oh god, okay. So other actor will now need to cast to the minion. And we need to get the team affiliation of that minion. Get team. And see if it's equal to this team. Or not equal to, rather. Not equal to enum. That. And then branch. So it should now only fire if it's a different team. Or disappear entirely. Let's turn my character around so I can actually see what the hell's going on. Oh, hello. Oh, wait, I know why. When we changed it from a pawn to something custom, we told it to... Oh no, it's blocking everything still, so it should still... That makes no sense. Why is it falling for the world? Water, the team variable that comes with the AI stuff. Well, it's last I saw, it doesn't work. But I don't know if they fixed it since then, but typically didn't work before. Maybe it doesn't work for AI perception. I don't know. I can't remember why it didn't work. Okay, so I don't get why it's falling for the floor. This shouldn't be falling for the floor. Let's change it back to pawn. Yeah, it works fine there, so pawn works fine. Oh. See, it's set to block all this, so this should be fine. And landscape collision, the static object. So why the hell is it falling for the floor? Set to block visibility as well. No. What the hell? Hi Tamo, this will be on my Patreon tomorrow and on YouTube publicly in a couple of weeks. So if I change it to pawn, all the other settings are fine, and then it works fine. And that makes no goddamn sense. Maybe this is going crazy. Let's try that back to block. Oh, and change the first one back to targets. No. What the hell? I take to block everything. And no, what the hell is going on? Ugh. It's such a weird problem to have. I assume it's also happening to the one that's on its own as well. So it's not that they're colliding with each other, and yeah, so the other one's gone through as well. I'll change it to the world static. Does it still fall through the world? Yeah, no. It's just literally targets. Oh wait, I've got an idea. On a landscape. You've got to block all, so it should all still work. Blocking targets, yep. Oh. Oh, you son of a. If anyone has any suggestions of why this would be doing this, please leave them in chat. Am I missing something? The pawn has the same object. So it's something to do with the object type. Okay, because pawn is fine. This presets are fine. So they match the same as pawn. This landscape shouldn't be having any trouble though, because it's the same setting for targets as it does for pawns. Okay, workaround. Let's do a workaround. So rather than checking if it's equal to targets, let's check if it's equal to pawn. What we'll do is make the towers just pawns as well. And we'll say change the collision then back to pawn here. And see if that workaround works. Okay, so off they go. And when they encounter this one guy on the other side, they should stop and shoot at him. Or just shoot their balls. Right, they're shooting balls. The balls are being shot. They're not moving anywhere, but they're being shot. Okay, so they're attacking each other, right? Okay, so we're close there. We're getting close. So the projectile here, we want to change sort of a few things out here. So in the sphere here, I'll make sure it's overlapping everything. So overlap all, and click compile. And try this out. Annoyingly, this is going to be a pain in the ass to test because they're all the time, right? They're firing and obviously overlapping and not hitting because it's overlapping. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, rather than doing hit, let's just do an overlap instead. Event act begin overlap. Now, I think they're overlapping each other as well now, which I don't want to have happen. I think that was happening before as well. So if I change it back to the hit, because I prefer hit, like to overlap. Okay, and let's change the sphere back to block all dynamic. No. Custom. I want it to block static, overlap dynamic, overlap pawns. No, they're using pawns, aren't they? So block pawns, physics body, block, vehicle block, destructible block, targets doesn't matter too much. But I don't want them to overlap. I want them to overlap themselves. Because they're quite big, you see. Let's see if I can change the size of it even smaller. 0.05, 0.05, 0.05. Because what's happening is the reason why they weren't flying through the air when they were set like that is because they're too big, and I know why they're too big now. Minion. Fire projectile. Where is it? There it is. Split and split. Oh. Location, rotation, size. 0.2, 0.2. Obviously, if you're doing melee or your own projectiles, you have to change all this to match whatever you want to do. I'm having to do 0.0.2 because I'm using this starter content and they're too big. What is happening because they're so big? They're colliding with the capsule of the minion that fired it, and therefore getting stuck because it's told to block. So now you can see it firing off. Okay, and you can see it colliding with him and removing. Okay. So let's get them to actually fire at him because at that moment they're just firing forwards. So we need to make them look at the target. So task attack target. Cast a minion. Before we fire a projectile, we want to turn to the thing. So I'm going to go focus. Oh no, sorry, it's from controller. Set focus. And the focus, you can see here is a target. Get target, refocus. Now they should turn and attack him. And fire towards him, because they're turned towards him, so they should fire straight away. Okay, so they're all facing him. And all the balls are going straight to him. So when he runs out of health, we want that to be destroyed. So let's go to our minion, give it some health. So variables, health, and do variable type of float. And do a function for receiving any damage. So any damage. And the damage here, take health out, get minus float. So take away the damage that's been passed through. And then set it back to the health. Set to health. And if health is less than or equal to 0, we'll destroy actor. So these guys should now decimate the one on the right. Oh, Sassy Pants got one of them out. They went way too quick. Why did they go too quick? Oh, it's because healthier was set to 0. Change it to 1. Now do it properly. So now we've got the minions running from the left and to the right. These guys should just rinse him. There you go. Okay, so obviously the target's dead. So we need to tell these guys to stop attacking obviously the target. And doing that, the attack state basically. So what we'll do is when the minion dies, destroy actor. No. Yes, okay. So you see we set up the target here on the begin overlap. This is when we're starting the firing. So when we change the boolean in the blackboard. The target here, we're going to take from here the pin, and we're going to bind event on end play. What that means is that when that target is destroyed, essentially, we're going to take it to run a separate custom event. And we'll do clear target. We'll make that carry on there. We're going to copy this and paste that down. And we're going to set it to false. We then want to clear the target variable, so target set to nothing. And then do that. So this binding is an event dispatcher, and you can bind an event to the end play of any actor. So when this target dies, this will trigger this function. Okay. Before you do this though, what we should also do is check whether or not we have any other overlapping actors. So let's spread that out a bit, and we'll get the overlapping actors. Class filter, we'll do actor, because it could be towels as well, I guess, and do a for each loop. We'll do a for each loop with break actually. With break. And we're going to check the actor that we're overlapping here for this sort of same stuff here. So we'll copy this, paste that down there. This is a very dirty way of doing this, by the way. Targets primitive component. Ah, no, it's a pain in the ass. Okay, won't do it that way. What'll be an easier way of doing this? Let's think. Think, Ryan, think. Because at the moment, this will work fine for the one minion, but when we have multiple minions, it's going to clear it even though there's others in range. So let's actually see if it works with just one minion. So when these guys go and kill this one, it'll trigger that binding, which will then trigger the behavior tree to cancel, and they'll just carry on doing what they want to do. Okay. But if I put multiple bad guys in, okay, let's put 4 in. Wait. Off these guys go. Bang, 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 bang. See, these guys have lost their target, so they're off. Which you don't want them to do. You want them to change their target based on who else is in that range. So that's where this issue comes in. So, okay. What I'm going to do is going to make a new function here called get check for more targets. Okay, and we'll do the get overlapping actors and cut that out there and paste that in here. So we get the overlapping actors, and the reason why I'm doing it as a function is because I can use local variables to save temporary data. We don't need that one. So get overlapping actors and plug them into a for each loop, so it's going to go through the array, which is a list. For each one, we're going to check whether or not they're equal to these various things. So I want to get the component of it, the overlapping component. Can I get overlapping component? I don't know if that's an actual thing. I can. Overlapping components. Nice. We'll do that. Okay, so with this, we can then check whether or not this is equal to the collision type. Copy that, put that in here. Okay, if that's true, we then want to cast a minion and get their team and make sure their team is not different. So true. And the object type is going to come from this. So we're going to get the owner of this. Get, I don't know what they call it in here. Actor? No, get owner. Yes, actor. Plug that in. And cast a minion. Get us a branch, which will then set the target again. And the target is minion. Okay. So go for each of those. But if it does do this and gets to the end and target is set to true, then we're going to drag that out and tell it to break. Just going to put some reroutes in there so you can see the line a bit better. So it's going to hit the target, then it successfully breaks it and cancels out the function. But if it doesn't, it keeps going around and around and around. The completed needs to know whether or not it found anything. So what we're going to do is at the start of this is take target and clear it to be nothing. So at the end of it, it either stays nothing or it's been changed to something. Go to my event graph. On clear targets, we're going to check for more targets. And the output for that is going to be successful or not. So let's put an output in here. So output's 1. And we'll leave it as a boolean. That's totally fine. And the boolean here is going to check whether or not this is got a valid number value to it. So we're going to get target, right click, convert to validate get. Oh no, sorry, not convert. Valid. So it'll if target has been set to something, it'll output true. So this will come out true. Let's rename it. Found target. So found target there, we want to plug into here. So if it's true, it'll set the ball as true. If it's not, it'll set to false. And that should hopefully work. So they fight. And no one's leaving, they're still fighting, okay? Boom, 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 boom. But these guys seem to haven't changed their focus to a different target, have they? Okay, new problem. So for some reason the target isn't updating. Target, that focus isn't being called again. But it should do. Got a new target. And we definitely set the target there. Oh, right. Yeah, no. Target is valid. Yep. Found targets. Yep. Change the target so they have a value. And every time and this is being called multiple times, so it should still call this and change and update this based on the target. What I'll do from here. No. Nope, I don't know. Well, it weren't just sodding off, so this bit must be true. Okay, so this bit must stay the same because it still knows there's a target there. It's just not updating the target value. I don't get it. It's been set there, so why is it not updating? Okay, let's get rid of a couple of these. Let's do 2 there and 2 there. And I'm going to look at this one and it says target as in range is true. That's correct. This one, correct. Okay. That's also on here. To test this out, we need to debug this. So get display name. print string, whatever its target is. Okay, so I'm watching minion 4. Okay, so he's shooting. Okay. Minion 5. So it's minion 4. Minion 2. Okay, so that value's not changing. Okay, so that's not getting a new target information. Okay, so that's one issue. Okay. So when debugging, your first thing is to find out where the problem is. So this has helped us diagnose where the problem is, because this is saying that the target hasn't changed. It's staying the same as the old target, which makes sense because it hasn't updated the focus. Okay, we know that much. So, but the broken part isn't here. Okay, so the broken part must be on the minion. So similarly on here, I'll do print string and just plug in this target here. Compile. Making sure. Okay. So now on the loop, it's going to output the target that is found from the loop. Okay. So his target still says it's still in range, and it clearly isn't. Do that again this time. Hopefully it won't get unlucky and kill out all of the team. So it's minion 5 we saw come up. But are any of these minion 5? That's minion 4. And that's minion 2. I'm thinking what is happening is that it is being destroyed, but before it's being completely destroyed, the overlapped component still isn't working. So to test it, like I'm thinking that it is all that's being removed. It's not fully removed, so it feels like it's still there. So to simply check that, I'm going to put a simple delay, really short delay at the start here. So before it checks for more targets, it will stop and wait for everything to be cleared first, and then it will dispatch it. There you go. That's it. So yeah, the issue was that even though it was to us, it looked like it was being destroyed. To the game, it for that split second didn't see it destroyed, so it just cracked on. Okay, so there we go. Let's do another test. This time, let's test it with more of them, and you'll notice they actually turn as well. To match their new targets. So push play. So off they go. My little horde versus the 2 the other team. They shoot. And you see they change and readjust to attack their new target, and off they go. So that's all working perfectly fine now. Excellent. So that the little delay helps there. So the last thing we need to set up is the tower. So when it enters a tower space, it can attack the tower instead. So let's make a tower. Go actor, tower. Actually, let's make it a pawn to save a lot of hassle. because they're searching for pawns for targets. So let's do that. Tower. This thing's going to have a static mesh, and it's going to be a cylinder. And we'll do two. Okay, let's see how that looks in the world. Yeah, fine. Okay, so there's the tower. So when it enters the tower's range, the tower's also going to have health. So health, float, compile 1. And where the minion has got the received damage, we also need to do exactly the same, but for the tower. So I'm going to copy and paste that over here. But they're basically the same, just doesn't move. Okay. So is there anything else whilst I'm thinking of it that it would need to attack the target? So it's going to check overlap for type. It'll be a type pawn. It's not going to be a minion though, so this cast will fail. If it does fail, we don't need to worry about the team. That's why we've done that. So cast failed, go straight to target. No, that won't work. If it's type minion, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So if it's casting failed, it'll go straight to target, so it doesn't do this check because it doesn't need to do a check. Okay. In fact, actually, you would do a check because obviously towers have teams, don't they? Because obviously you don't want to attack your own tower. Team. So here we'll do. I'll tell you what we could do. We could do a little bit of clever stuff. Could we? Yes, we'll do a little bit of clever stuff. We'll get rid of the tower. Here comes the clever stuff. So the tower, I think about it, it's just exactly the same as a minion, except for that it doesn't move. So I'm going to right click on minion, create a child class of this. This will be a tower. So I want to basically change this so it's not this thing here. We're going to use a static mesh instead. And we'll use a cylinder. And change the size of it to 2. Do it a bit higher. 3. We'll get rid of this thing so it doesn't have a mesh on it, like skeletal mesh. And we don't want it to move at all. So character movement, we're going to say is. I'm blind. Where is it? Here. Set to 0, 0. This is a dirty way of doing it, but it's simplest. Because it's exactly the same as a tower. So when it enters the space, it will also attack other minions. Other minions. So in theory, this should work the same. If I drag this out, and this is going to be, let's just, for simplicity's sakes, where's the team? There you go, team. We don't want any lanes. Although we could put on a lane. Put lane A. Why not? It doesn't really matter. It's not going to move. But team here, team red, team blue. We want this. If we're going to test it out, let's test it out on team blue. So if this is the bad guy tower for this team, so these guys should stop and attack this tower when they get in range of it. Okay. But I'm just going to change the range of it briefly. I'm going to change. No, it should be fine. Right. So these guys hopefully will just stop and attack it. And the tower may actually fire back. Yeah, I've done one of them. Okay. I think it's because it was this sphere here is too small. So let's just change the sphere here. Attack range. Change this range here to 800. It's a lot bigger. Oh, it's because they're looking for a not a sphere collision. They're looking for something else, aren't they? We'll need to make our attack range here. Custom and be of the type of pawn. Right, now let's try it. There you go, because they're on the edge of the thing. Right, let's change it back to 400 because that's ridiculous. So they're the same. Cancel. Oh, let's close the whole entire project. Okay, so let's check this. These guys should all stop and attack the tower on their way. Boom, boom, boom. And off they go to attack the minions. But let's give the tower some more health, because obviously towers last a lot longer than this guy does. So health here, I'm going to change that to, let's change that to 5. So let's see, the tower will also attack. Let's change the position of the attack point for the tower. So scene component. Let's move that there. Hit save. And close that. Tower fighting back. I can't see. I think the point where it is. Yeah, cool. Okay. We just need to tell it to turn and face the right way. I'll screw it, that'll do. Right, so let's test this out with more NPCs. We haven't had time to do the wave system, of like spawning, just doing a spawn system for all of them. But so these guys can be lane A. I just spawn these guys out again, and we'll say you guys are going to be following lane B. Lane B. Lane B. Lane B. Actually, to make only 3 go down there. And oh, copy these. Okay, no. Oh my god. I've got a load of duplicates. Hang on. Hang on. There we go. Any chance that I actually... No, I didn't. Okay, so these guys would then be lane C. I think that changed it for all of them. Yep, lane C, lane C, lane C. Okay, let's do this side. These guys are lane A already. I'm going to duplicate these. And again, select that. And these guys are going to be lane B. And I'm going to copy that out again. And these guys will be lane C. Towers. So we've got tower 1 here. This tower is going to be lane A's tower for team red. And do another one there. And another one there. And the lane, I don't think the lane numbers actually matter too much. So then we're going to duplicate this. Move them here. And these are going to be team blue. Then I'm going to copy this one, put it right at the end, and make it bigger. Like that. And then do the same over here. For team red. The same size, I want it to be an even height, 2.25. 2.25. There we go. Okay, so let's see this working. So it's basically I made a MOBA simulator. So let's go. Off they all go. And they're all going off to their various lanes. They should all ignore the first tower because it's their own. Fight each other off. And try and get to the next tower. Shoot the next tower. These guys didn't make it. This guy is stuck behind this one. I think he's trying to shoot at these guys, but the tower is blocking his shots. And these guys over here are attacking this tower over here. And they won. Hey, well done, team. Red team are the winners. There we have it. That's a minion AI, essentially. Very basic setup. Obviously, we've only done, what, less than 2 hours on this. But you can already see the makings of your MOBA. All you need to do then is do a timer system for the spawning, which I've got a video on. If you want to know how to do wave-based spawning, you just do that. Totally fine. But yeah, there you go. And that is how you do MOBAs. Alright, we'll take a few questions. Anyone have any particular questions in the chat? Throw them up. I've seen a couple have come up in the time I've been doing the last little bits here. So let's have a look and see what people have asked. Zandius, why does Unreal Engine crash for me the majority of the time when I force delete things? It depends on what you're deleting. If the thing you're deleting is critical to the map that it's on, or is being actively used, or if it's a lot of it, then it can crash. That's why. Rubens, how do you trigger a cutscene like the ones in Fallout and stuff? If you go check out my video on level sequencer, that covers cutscenes. This is exactly the same as a cutscene. Oh, with facial animation. So facial animation is done by pose states. I haven't done it in here before, but I did look at it, and I can't remember where it was. Pose. Oh, I ain't got nothing I can do it with. Basically, your face is. It depends on what level you're going at. If you're using mocap data from facial hardware and software, then it just plays that animation. Like Last of Us, for example. If you got a canned sort of speech to text, sort of most commonly used in big RPGs, because there's so much spoken dialogue. These will be canned facial positions. You can make it sort of morph for the words and things like that. But I haven't looked at it too much with facial animation. I need to look at it more. Chris is asking, hey, how am I doing? Thanks, Chris. I'm doing okay. Thank you. It's been very hot here in the UK for the past couple of days. It's been quite nice to have a bit of rain, a bit of wind today. John Aldo, you need to do an enemy and nexus. What's a nexus? Is that a type of enemy? Or is it a spelling mistake? I don't know. And create a playlist about MOBAs. I will eventually do something about MOBAs in the future, but not anytime soon, as we're currently making the FPS RPG series. Once that's out of the way, then we'll take suggestions for future game types, but at the moment we're making an FPS RPG, which episode 2 of that will be out in a moment, because I want to edit it and upload it, hopefully before I go to bed. In other news, if you didn't really see the announcement, I was successful in getting an Epic Mega Grant, so that's all very exciting, and hopefully once I get the money through, I can get some decent equipment and start making some cool stuff. Like a turret-like league. A turret. Oh, okay. Hang on, let me have a look at. Let me Google it. Hang on. Oh, right. Okay. Nexus. Right. Uh, I don't know. I haven't played League, so well, I don't play League anymore. Anyway, tried it once, didn't like it. But Nexus. Let's have a look what that is. Uh, okay. I'm reading up what it was. I'm not entirely sure. Is it like an RTS type thing where you don't actually control the characters, like a simulator, like a football manager type thing? Thanks, Lawless. Haida Levine, thank you so much. I'm glad you're learning so much from me. So to recap what we've achieved today, we've got minion AI that will follow a path and go along a path. And when they encounter other minions or other turrets or towers, whatever you want to call them, they will attack and destroy them as they go, making sure they only attack the ones of the opposing team. And you can see it simulated here. We'll push play, and I'll do Shift F1 and eject, and we can watch it all unfold up here, which is quite fun to watch. This guy's lost. Don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. Has he got actually any variables set to him? Oh wait, that's a player character. That's why. No, that's me. Whoops. But there you go. So these guys are off. It looks like these guys might win this one. Yeah, there you go. They clear that one. Okay. So MOBA minions. And where it goes further is you can make it so jungle characters, which are characters without lanes, they'll just obviously attack anything that comes near them. Obviously interacting with the player, so when they see the player, they'll attack the player, or when they get attacked by the player, whatever you want to do, how you want to set it up. I don't know, whatever else you want to do. Power up, boost, and buff your AI, minion AIs. There's loads of things you could do with it. But there you go. That's generally how you could do that. Winter Law is asking, hey Ryan, done both your dialogue tree and quest tutorials. I was wondering how can you incorporate the quest system in an NPC dialogue tree? Is this how it's implemented in games like Skyrim? Yes, that is basically how they do it in Skyrim. So I'm covering exactly that in my FPS RPG series. So at the FPS series, they'll you'll talk to NPCs and gain quests from them. So we'll cover it in that. But essentially, yes, it works exactly the same. So my quest has the function of add quest. You just call that function and give it the details it needs, and it'll work. John, yes, the turrets aren't firing. The reason why I think they're not firing is... Oh, hello. He's still firing. Is that their scene component is a bit busted. So, and I think they're overlapping their scene component. Hang on. Let's take the stop first. I don't think I can change it whilst it's playing. If I click on scene, so yeah, see it's here. Where's this one? If I were to put it up, let's just for example put it up high. Let's do it for all of them. If I had more time, I'd run out of time, but you'd make it ignore itself and just shoot from wherever. If I put it above itself, it'll shoot down. So hopefully these guys, when I get shot at from the tower, Oh. Oh wait, that's the wrong thing. Oh, but it's not firing downwards. We'll run out of time, I think, but it just involves figuring out the scene component here that it's shooting from, and making it point towards where you want it to point towards. I think it's mostly the issue is that if we put it there, it was too high. Because you want it to rotate as well. So let's add an arrow to this so you can actually see which way they're facing, because they're cylinders, you can't really see. And make this not hidden again. Play. And we should see these guys fire out. Oh. Set that. Okay. Now you can see he's facing a different direction. He shouldn't be firing though, because they're their own teammates, but these guys, this should turn and face the other guys when they get here. It's not though. You bugger. I say I don't have time to do it now, but the fix for it would be, rather than have a scene component just hovering in front, it would be on a spring arm, and then you tell the spring arm to rotate to face towards its target, and then it will fix the direction it is. The reason why it's not it is firing, but what it's doing is it's firing into itself, and then the bullet's not is destroying itself and carrying on, which obviously you don't want to happen. But say I ran out of time to fix it. But yes, I would put a spring arm on this scene component, then rotate the spring arm based on which way it needs to face to its target, and then it'll shoot towards the target. But that's the gist of it. Okay. Anyways, I've got to go. We've been doing it for 2 hours, so thank you for everyone for joining us. And I say the archive for this will be up for patrons in a moment, and on the Patreon page. If you want to watch it now, head over to patreon.com/RyanLady. If you want to wait, you can wait a couple of weeks, and it'll be available on YouTube as well for everyone else. Unfortunately, last question then from Helpo. Are you able to make the way you have your character in front of you see the field of vision and nothing behind you? What? Are you able to make the way you have a character in front of you to see the field of vision? Oh, right, so it only sees like a cone in front of you. Yeah, obviously you could do like AI perception and use the vision cone stuff there instead of using a sphere collision, which I've done. So rather than doing that, you do use the AI perception to do that, which I've covered in other AI videos, so check them out to learn about AI perception. But that's the way you do that. Anyway, peace out everyone, have a good evening, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.